Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in. The opening series in the MLB is over. Opening week is done. Today I'm going to be starting the season-long series of recapping every single week in MLB team by team. Let's get right into it. For those of you who are watching this on YouTube, yes, this is also going to be on the podcast side of things. So if you want to go check that out, link is going to be in the description, the Century Baseball Podcast. Extra content is going to be coming out on there as well. If you're on the podcast side of things, make sure you go over to YouTube. There's going to be more content for you guys as well over there. Subscribe, follow, save, download the podcast if you are on anywhere. And just do it all. Team by team, there's going to be series. Maybe we get a co-host in here, but here's how it's going to work every single time. I'm going to have a team. I'm going to go team by team. It's probably going to be the same order every single time. I'll go by each division. I'll go by every team. I'll tell you what their record is, the results. You can see their top performer. I'm going to tell a little bit about what happened to this team over the whole entire week. And this will be coming out every single Monday, so make sure you guys are staying tuned for that. Subscribe so you don't miss out. But without further ado, I think we can just get right into it. So starting out with the New York Yankees, they are 2-1 because they took 2 out of 3 from the Giants this weekend. And their top performer was Aaron Judge. He went 6 for 13, had a couple of bombs. Side note, Giancarlo Stanton, he had an absolute nuke to left center yesterday. Garrett Cole as well. He had a really nice outing, 6+, I think. No runs. He had a really nice outing for them. A lot of strikeouts as well. Heading over to the Blue Jays, they are 1-2. They lost 2 of 3 versus the Cardinals. Their top performer, George Springer, in Game 1 went absolutely off. He was 5 for 6, scored 4 times, and had an RBI. So 1-2 against a good team. Yes, George Springer coming back. Is he going to be way better now that he's in right field, a lot more healthy? I'm interested to see because this is a team that definitely needs Springer to be a little bit better. And this team is disgusting defensively, by the way. I talked with 450 Dead Center. You guys should go check that out. We did a video on our channel and a video on their channel. They're Blue Jays guys, so you could go check that out. They'll be in the description as well. Moving on, the Baltimore Orioles, they're 1-2 after getting out to a incredibly hot start, offensively especially. They lose the next 2 games. There was a thriller in Game 1, but they lost 2 out of 3 to the Red Sox. Their top performer, Game 1, Adley Rutschman, was an absolute animal. 5 for 5. He had a homer, and he had 4 RBIs. He went off this weekend. Going over to the Rays, they sweep. They're 3-0. Swept the Tigers. Pitching looked dominant. And their top performer, Jeffrey Springs, had 6 no-hit innings. Almost perfect there in Game 3 just yesterday. And then they pulled him. He's probably just not built up. He's not stretched out. Kevin Cash obviously knows what he's doing, so I would trust him on that. But taking him out after 6 no-hit innings, I don't know where the pitch count was, but had to have been somewhere up there because that was a little bit of a questionable move to me. But again, I'm not the manager of the Tampa Bay Rays, so we'll see how that one goes. Moving on, the last team in the AL East, the Boston Red Sox, 2-1. We just talked about them a little bit. They took 2 of 3 from the Orioles, and the offense came alive for them. Adam Duvall, 4 of 5, a couple of bombs, 5 RBIs, and he had that walk-off in Game 2. But throughout the whole entire series, especially Games 2 and 3, Adam Duvall went off. 7 RBIs in 2 games, I'm pretty sure. He's looking pretty nice for them. He's also a stud defensively, by the way, in center field. Obviously, the offense is going to be better. They're in Fenway for this one, but I'm interested to see what this team can do because they looked pretty decent against a team that can't pitch very well. But again, I'm excited to see what this Red Sox team can do. Heading over to the AL Central, the Guardians, 3-1. How about you? Took 3 of 4 from the Mariners. Their top performer, at least in my eyes, Aaron Savale, especially from what happened to him last year in the playoffs. I think he did a very fantastic job in Game 3, 7 scoreless innings from Savale. I think if you're a Guardians fan going up against that Mariners team, you got to be thrilled with that performance. Is he going to become a mainstay in this rotation for you? I think it's going to be interesting to see. I'm interested to see what happens with Zach Plesac because I don't know if he's going to really solidify himself into that rotation once again. I mean, we'll have to see. White Sox, a little bit of a pretty decent series. They're 2-2. They split with the Astros. Their top performer, Yoan Moncada, ever since the WBC, has been going off. If he can keep something like this or even close to it up, oh my gosh, 8 of 18, couple homers, a few doubles, 4 RBIs. That is insane. Coming from the 5-hole of your lineup, Yoan Moncada looked really good this week, and pitching didn't look too bad either. You know, Lynn had a couple of nice innings, but Little rocked. Clevenger looked pretty good. Shaky early on. I watched that game. Shaky early on. Didn't end up allowing any runs, I don't think. He might have gotten 1 charge to him. It was an inherited runner to another guy, but overall, I think this White Sox team against the Astros did a pretty decent job. The Twins, another team that swept one of three. They're 3-0, swept the Royals, the bottom-feeding Royals, unfortunately. I had some high hopes for them, but not looking like anything's going to be much different because the offense was not there for them. Anyway, this is about the Twins. For me, I think their top performer is going to go to Joey Gallo. Could have been, Pablo Lopez, because he looked really good in his first outing, but I think the fact that Joey Gallo went 3 for 10, a couple of homers, really early on in the year, I think that's a very good sign for these Twins. And, that's another hit that you probably wouldn't have had with the shift last year. So pretty interested to see how he's going to do this year. I like this for Joey Gallo. I like this for the Twins. Moving on to the aforementioned Royals, 0-3, swept by the Twins. This was really bad. Pitching was not great. Greinke actually put up a pretty decent effort for them. I think Jordan Lyles is going to take their top performer, 5.1 innings pitched, 1 earned run on the day. Greinke could have been up there. He had an arguably better performance, but I think Jordan Lyles, just because, this is a guy who, younger, but coming over from the Orioles, I think this is a guy who definitely can make a difference for this team. If they were to be competitive, he'd probably be like the 5, like in any other rotation, but he's like, they're 2, they're 3. The Royals did not look good this series, did not hit very well at all. Even their top guys, Bobby Witt, Vinny Pasquantino, MJ Melendez, did not really hit the whole series, so not looking super good for the Royals. Moving on to another team that got swept, the Tigers. They're 0-3, swept by the Rays, and boy, oh boy, this team looked exactly the same as last year. Their offense was not good. Matt Vierling is leading off for you. Trust me, I love Matt Vierling. He was on the Phillies, did great for them last year. I don't think I want Matt Vierling leading off for my squad. I'm sorry. With that being said, Austin Meadows, he went 4 for 10 for them. He's probably the only guy who hit decently for them. So we'll go Austin Meadows here for their top performer. Heading over to the AL West, the Stros starting it off. They split, as we said, with the White Sox. Yordan Alvarez, he got to sit game 4, but he still had a really good series. 5 for 11, a homer, 5 RBIs. He had the bases clearing double that flipped the one game that they won. I believe that was Saturday. So Yordan still looking like a beast coming off of that big home run in the World Series. So interested to see how this team does. We know the offense is going to be there. Pitching got thrown around a little bit, especially by this White Sox team, who they have a good offense, really good lineup. I think it's a little underrated just because of how bad they were last year. But I'd be watching out for the White Sox, and I think the Astros, they're going to bounce back soon. I don't know who they play next, but they're going to be bouncing back soon. So maybe I'll throw that down at the bottom here. I'll throw who they're going to be playing next just because, I don't know. It's just what I want to do. I need your feedback. So if you guys are looking at the graphic on the screen, maybe down here I might throw a little who they're playing next. Let me know. The Mariners, they are 1-3. They lost 3 of 4 versus the Guardians at home. Offense was okay, not great. Julio had a pretty decent series, not great though. Logan Gilbert looked good. 6 innings, 1 earned run for them. So obviously high expectations for them. This is a good pitching team that they played in the Guardians. Their own pitching was pretty decent throughout the whole entire series. Robbie Ray was the only guy who didn't do so great as far as I know. But yeah, Castillo was decent. Gilbert was good, as we see here. So interested to see how this team bounces back because you got some teams that are coming for them. Such as the Angels. They took 2 of 3 from the A's. First game was, oh my gosh, what happened? That Hunter Renfroe catch was ridiculous. It was the Shohei game. Obviously, he's their top performer. Who else is going to be? 6 scoreless innings in game 1, and then he went 4 for 12 with a homer and 2 runs in the series. I mean, come on. Who else does that? No one. I'm sorry. No one else does that. I know this says Cardinals. This is supposed to say Athletics, so let me change that. Sorry, I had to fix that. It's from the Athletics, not from the Cardinals. So as I said, Shohei, their top performer. Trout and Ohtani went back-to-back. That was pretty hype. So Angels team looked pretty decent. Obviously, game 1, the offense just didn't come to life. Pitching looked good, though, against a bad Athletics team. We'll get to them in a second. A team that is coming for the Mariners. How about the Rangers sweeping the Phillies? Last night completed the sweep, 2-1 win. There's a lot of options for top performer. Could have been given to Marcus Semien, who has got a really good series. I'm going to give it to Mitch Garver. He went 3 for 7, a couple of homers, 6 RBIs. Mostly that one game where he had 2 homers, though Mitch Garver, and all 6 of those RBIs. Yeah, Garver looks good. Looks good on the hitting side. I think he caught a game as well, which he did not do a lot of last year. So I think Garver's kind of an X factor for this team. If he's going to hit well, if he's going to be a power guy that they need, then this team's going to be good because DeGrom was not good. Evaldi was meh. Like, he started off well. He got a little later on, got a little bit rocked. Didn't allow any homers, but and then last night, who was it that started for them? It was Martin Perez. Martin Perez looked very good for them last night. So, I think he only allowed one. I think that one run was just to him. So he had a very good game last night. And the Phillies really put in a lot of righties. Christian Pache was playing for the Phillies. We'll get to them in a little bit. Speaking of Christian Pache, the Oakland A's, why would they DFA him? Like, they did that and then they traded him. Like, dude, this team is so bad. They should have tried to fix Pache. He's one of the young guys that they really probably should have invested in a little bit. Lost 2 of 3 to the Angels. Kyle Muller, though, 5 innings, 1 earned run on the first game. That was pretty good. Probably going to get their top performer. Heading to the National League, the Braves took 2 of 3 from the Nationals. They are 2-1. Their top performer went with Matt Olson, 4 for 11. He had a couple of bombs in this series. So the last game, things kind of fell apart a little bit. I think they lost 5-1, but offense looked good. Pitching looked good the first couple of games with Fried. Fried is injured. That's something to note. He's going to be out a few weeks, I believe. So interested to see what happens there, but this rotation's still pretty good. So I'm interested to see what happens with them. They are playing the Cardinals now, and then they're going to go play the Padres. So a tough little stretch here the next couple of series. Interested to see how they do. The Mets, they take 3 of 4 from the Marlins. They're 3-1. We got to see Kodai Senga pitch for the first time, and he was pretty good. 5.1 innings and earned run. I believe he had 7 Ks, 3 walks. The Ghost Fork, it was on yesterday. I didn't get to see a lot of this game where Kodai Senga played, but I tried to get a little bit of it. So this guy's looking electric. He's looking like he's going to be very good for this Mets team. Good pickup by them, obviously. So scary. Definitely scary as a Phillies fan what this Mets team can do pitching-wise. But Bryce Harper talked about it last night. It's kind of what they want. You know, they want to see that competition in the NL East. So Mets 3 of 4. Pretty good series. That Jeff McNeil, Pete Alonso thing in the base paths, that was really weird. I think that was the first game. That was really strange. Don't know what happened there. I think McNeil got a strike called on him because Pete Alonso wasn't back to the bag in time or something like that. Something weird, but it's some of the loopholes in the rules that need to be fixed, so we'll see what happens with that. The Phillies, my Phillies, got swept by the Rangers. Here's a stat for you. The Phillies have now lost 12 games in a row to the Rangers over the last 9 years. We have not beat the Rangers in 9 years. How about it? It's been a house of horrors, especially going there. And then last year, we got rocked by them at home. Been a little bit of a house of horrors for us. But we're 0-3. I mean, the pitching just yikes. I'm not going to talk a ton about them because the podcast is the Phillies podcast. I'm recording right after this. It's going to be coming out. You can go check that in the description as well. So I'm not going to talk a ton about the Phillies, so you guys can go check that video out. But overall, we'll just say top performer. Trey Turner looked really good for them. He had a couple of triples in this series. He went 5 for 13. I believe only 1 RBI, but defensively as well, looked pretty decent for this team. He had one, I think they're going to call it an error, but it wasn't really his fault. Like, he hit the lip in the turf and whatever. He looked really good for the Phillies. That's needless to say. Looked really good for them. I'm excited to keep seeing this guy play. Marlins 1-3. Once again, their problem continued to be the offense. I apologize for all the errors in the graphics. I just changed that one. But Jesus Luzardo had a really good outing. 5.2 scoreless innings against the Mets. I believe that was game 2 or game 3. Jesus Lizard looked pretty good. Alcantara thrown around a little bit in game 1, not a ton. Looked pretty solid. But again, offense continued to struggle. This lineup they're putting out is should be good, but not looking the best. Stallings behind the dish, not going to get it done on offense. Need to get a better offensive catcher. He's a good defensive one, but need to get a better offensive catcher. Segura at third. You got Wendell. You're probably going to play at short. You got Arise. You got Cooper. It's pretty solid offensive infield. Wendell's a little bit of an outlier there, but see how that goes. De La Cruz, not a great offensive player out there. Soler had a good series offensively. Jazz did not look good in center field. He had a couple balls get by him in this series. So Marlins overall not looking the best against a very good opponent, but not looking the best, not really looking how they probably want to in the first week. So we'll see how this team shapes out. The Nats, they lose 2 of 3 to the Braves, so they are 1-2. Lane Thomas had a pretty solid series for them, though, 5 for 12. I don't know. The expectations are obviously not there for this team. CJ Abrams, I want to say, I believe he was hitting 8th or 9th in the lineup, which is kind of disappointing, seeing that that's really their guy. That they need to be planning for the future. So him hitting 8 or 9 when he should probably be turning into your leadoff guy, I don't know if that's the best move by the Nats developmentally. But I don't know. I don't love the direction right now. because, well, we'll see. When the prospects come up, Mackenzie Gore had a pretty decent outing, first one since being injured last year. So Nats, we'll see how they do. There's no expectation for them, obviously. Cardinals eke out a good 2-1 series victory over the Blue Jays. That's very good for them. Alec Burleson, I know that he probably wasn't the best statistical guy, but just the fact that he's just coming out of nowhere a little bit. 3 for 8 with a homer. That last game for him was pretty decent as well. I'm excited to see what this kid can do because they got a lot of depth out there. I think it was very smart of this team to bring up Jordan Walker early in the season like this because the guy's a stud. Probably going to be in the Rookie of the Year conversation because he's just that good, and he's an outfielder. This team does not need more outfielders. Well, he's a third baseman by trade, but they got Nolan Arenado there, so they're not going to do that. Speaking of Nolan Arenado, go check out that video I did with 450 Dead Center on their channel. Someone had a hot take about Nolan Arenado. He's my pick to win the MVP, but they had a different hot take about him in their video, so go check that out as well. The Brewers are 2-1. They took 2 of 3 from the Cubs. Pretty good series for them. Their top performer, at least to me, Jesse Winker, 3 for 8, 4 RBI, excuse me. That last game especially, 2 for 3, I believe he was. I'm looking for him to have a bounce back year. He had that MVP-like start in 2021. Last year, he was really bad for Seattle. Interested to see how he can do. He's from my hometown here in Buffalo, so interested to see how Jesse Winker can do. I'm rooting for him. Not that I love him as a player, but rooting for him, This team retooled in the offseason. I don't know if it's going to work. I think there's a real possibility that they trade away a bunch of pieces at the deadline. But a lot of people have really high hopes for this team, and they're a well-managed team, well-coached team, so not completely surprised. Good start for them. 2 out of 3 from the Cubs. Those Cubs we just talked about, they're 1-2. They lost 2 of 3 from the Brewers. They lost the back 2 games. Marcus Stroman in game 1, though, disgusting. 6 scoreless innings pitched. He stretched out a little bit more because of the WBC, but he looked really, really good for them. And second year of his 3-year deal, and someone was talking about how, is he going to go back to the Blue Jays after? No, he's not. I'm sorry. That was on the 450 Dead Center as well. I'm sorry. I'm talking about it a lot today, but it was a really good video we did with them a few days ago, so make sure you go check those out. But Stroman, again, really, really good performance. Is he going to keep it up for the whole year? Sneaky Cy Young-esque favorite. Not favorite, but dark horse there. So we'll see how he does. Pirates, I had high hopes from this year. This is not a good start. They lost 2 of 3 versus the Reds. They're 1-2. O'Neal Cruz, though, good series, 4 for 10, launched a homer in Great American Ballpark. I think he's probably going to have a very, very good year this year for them. We need the glove to get a little bit better. The arm is great. The power is great. Need the contact. We need the glove to get just a little bit better, and he's going to be an absolute stud. The Reds, we just talked about him, 2 of 3 from the Pirates, and guess who's back? Jonathan India. Someone in the Discord, Just Ben, you were talking about that. Go join the Discord. It'll be linked in the description so we can talk a little bit of baseball, but Just Ben, the Reds fan in the group, was talking about how he thinks Jonathan India is back. He had a very good series, 5 for 11. He had a home run himself, so disappointing last year. Will he bounce back? I'm interested to see because I really hope he does. The Padres took 2 of 3 from the Rockies. They are 2-1 with a super stacked team. Nando's not back yet. I think they got 2-3 more weeks without him, but he's going to make this team even better. Xander, though, how about it? 6 of 14, 2 homers, 4 extra base hits for this team. That's a pretty good first impression if you ask me. At home, San Diego. How about you? Dodgers 2-2. They split with the Diamondbacks. By the way, okay, I'm not going to talk about the Diamondbacks yet, but is Trace Thompson a better athlete than Clay? It's of debate right now. Trace Thompson took Waino deep in the WBC, and now 3-homer game? Are you kidding me? In Game 3, guy goes 3 homers. They all had the same exact exit velocity, by the way, 107.5 off the bat. They were all toward the pull side. So, boy, this guy, if he can turn into a stud for them in center field, boy, do they need it because this team is down bad with the injury bug right now. But, boy, this team looked pretty decent. For splitting, this team looked pretty decent. And the team they split with, the Snakes, 2-2, obviously split with the Dodgers. I'm going to give the top performer to Zach Davies because he's really not that great last year, the last few years, high ERA. But 5 innings pitched and an earned run, you cannot complain with the results. That's a pretty good outing from Zach Davies. So if he can turn it around and make this rotation even a little bit better, this team might contend. The thing I want to add, Corbin Carroll, oh my gosh, the kid is fast. He's really fast. And he's going to add another weapon to this offense because, dude, this team can be good if they can just put it all together. Christian Walker, Ketel Marte, Carroll, Lawler, Thomas. If Ahmed turns it around a little bit, Josh Rojas is pretty good. Carson Kelly. Like, this team has got stuff. Gurriel, Moreno. This team has got some players, man, that can do it. Are they going to be able to put it all together? Just like a lot of different teams. So we'll see about that. The Giants 1-2. They lose 2 of 3 against the Yankees. Brandon Crawford had a very good game too for them. However, he went 3 for 5, 2 runs, 3 RBIs for them. He had a homer in that one as well, 2-run homer. So Brandon Crawford, if he can turn it around a little bit, probably going to be like his last year. I don't know how many more years he has on his contract, but maybe his last year, something like that. Probably. He's getting up there in age. So, by the way, side note, speaking of the Giants, Bruce Bochy back as a manager for the Rangers. That's super sick. I know that they just like beat up on the Phillies, but that is sick. I think that he's going to be the X factor for that team. I know we already passed the Rangers, but speaking of the Giants, it brought it back to my memory. But Giants, the offense did not look good, especially in games 1 and 3. So game 2 looked a little bit better, but are they going to be able to hit? Well, we'll see. Rockies as well, 1-2. They lost 2 of 3 versus the Padres. CJ Cron went off. 7 of 15, 3 homers, 7 RBIs, and this was not a home series. This was on the road in San Diego. Crohn's disease, boy. I mean, he looked really, really good. 7 of 15, 3 bombs. Like, that's really good. Is he going to be able to put it together for the whole year? If he is, that's MVP numbers. Like, even if he does, like, obviously he's not going to do that all year, but, like, if he's, like, a 290 with, like, that much power, dude, this guy's going to be crazy. Realistically, probably going to be, like, a 250 hitter, something like that, They're in Coors, so we'll see. We'll see. That is the full recap of the week, team by team. I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know what you guys thought if you want to keep seeing this. My plan is to do it every single Monday, so with the full week review. So I hope you guys did enjoy. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.